That's going to give Daniel P the best hand with 2 pair, 5s and 9s. And whoa!
Got it all in already.
Andrew's shipping it all in already. All right, fireworks right out of the gate. First hand, and we have an all-in situation here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Abad Live channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Abad, and in today's poker segment, we're gonna review some hands that we played at the 510 live stream in Best Bet Jacksonville. We had a lot of fun playing. We met a bunch of really cool people, and it was a really fun time. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, so we are leaving the house now to go play the 510 Jacksonville stream. It's going to be a hold'em game, and hopefully we'll run good. Let's get to it. Alright guys, in here we are kicking things off with fireworks right from the get-go. The action starts with Daniel in middle position, opening it up to $50 with pocket fives. Falls to me on the button, and I look down at ace queen offsuit. So I decide to go ahead and put in the 3-bet to $150. It folds back to him and he puts in the call, and we take a flop heads up. The flop comes 10-9-3 rainbow, and he checks it over to me, and I quickly put in the c-bet for $125, and he makes the call. The turn is a board pairing 9, and he checks it over to me again, and at this point I decide to go for the double barrel because I think like there's a lot of good rivers for me. I have the queen of spades, so if a spade lands on the river, I think we can represent a backdoor flush. We have all the overs, and we're gonna go ahead and put in max pressure on what he could have, which could be a 10. It could be some straight draws. I really don't think he has a 9 because I go ahead and bet again on the turn for $325, and he just makes the call. You can make the case for a 9 just flatting a good amount of the times here, but I think a lot of people would check raise this particular turn if they were holding a 9. So he just goes ahead and makes the call, and we see the river is an offsuit king. Now, I think this river is a lot better for me than it is for him, and he checks it over one more time, and I decide to go ahead and put in max pressure and go all in the first hand of the stream. Given the hand that he had, I think this should have worked vast majority of the times in here. I think I should have gotten the fold. Maybe if he was a different type of player. I've never played with him before, but eventually he ended up deciding on a call, and we are stuck about $1,000 right from the get-go. But we have plenty of time to try to get it back, and we're gonna try to do just that. So let's get to the next hand. Alright guys, so about an hour has passed since that first hand that we showed you guys where we double up Daniel with pocket fives. We've been a little carded, so there hasn't really anything relevant to report. Maybe we won some small hands, lost some small hands, but nothing major really until this hand in which Daniel opens up Jack 9 suited on middle position, phone booth calls with ace 3 off, and we'll look down at queen 9 suited on the button. Now, we decided to go ahead and 3-bet to $125, and I think this is a little bit of a mistake because queen 9 suited can flop well in a multi-way pot, so I don't think there is really a need to go ahead and bump it up. We can just call in position and take a flop. However, like I said before, we were carded for a while and we're trying to get in the mix. We want to play some big pots, and we're not gonna be able to accomplish that by just flatting. So we kick it up to $125, and Don wakes up with pocket kings in the big blind. Now, he thinks that 125 bucks is not enough to play with kings, so he bumps it up to $400 and it folds back to me. Now, why not compound one mistake with another and just make the call, right? But in my defense, we were over 300 big ones deep, and if I flop well, we can potentially put ourselves in a good spot to get all of our money back. So we decided to go ahead and make the call, and we'll take a flop heads up. The flop is king 10-5 rainbow. So it's not the greatest of flop for us, but we have a gutter, we have a backdoor flush draw, and he goes ahead and bets $325. So for this price, we're gonna peel one and see what develops on the turn, and that's what we do. The turn is an offsuit queen, so even though we make a pair, that's not necessarily the turn we wanted to see. We would have loved to see a spade, would have loved to see drill the jack and make a straight, but unfortunately it didn't happen, and he continues for $1,000, and at this point we can't continue, so we just have to give it up. We're probably stuck about 2K now, but we are gonna continue getting in the mix and try to get our money back. So let's get to the next hand. Alright guys, in this hand we clearly didn't learn our lesson, because we're getting in the mix once again with queen 9. As a matter of fact, this time we've actually downgraded to queen 9 off, and we open up the action to $50 and get 4 callers. So we're gonna take a flop 5 ways, which is 10-9 deuce, 2 diamonds. Brad checks it over to us, and we decide to check because we have a marginal holding and we don't want to blow out the pot, especially being 5-way action. Jack has a monster. He flopped top pair and a queen high flush draw, and he puts in $150 in the middle. Brad calls with his bottom pair, and I don't want to get out of the way just yet. We do have middle pair and we have some backdoor straight draws, so we put in the call as well and take a turn 3 ways, which is the jack of clubs. Brad checks it over to us again, and we check to jack one more time, and he decides to check. He has a pretty good hand. If I was him, I probably would have put in a bet, because he has middle pair, he has a queen high flush draw and an open-ended to go with all his other draws and his pair. I would have applied max pressure, but that's just me. He decides to realize his equity and check back. In the river, it's the 9-ball corner pocket gives us strips. Now Brad decides to go ahead and lead out for a little over $300, and we are not necessarily worried of him having a better 9. I think a lot of the times this is going to be a bluff, and he could have worse 9s as well. We're blocking king queen is a hand that he could have, and he could have 8-7. I think those are all his value hands, and we're not absolutely sure what it is. I don't think racing here is plus EV majority of the time, so we just go ahead and make the call, and jack gets out of the way. And yep, Brad had just bottom pair and turning his deuce into bluff, and didn't work for him this time, but A for effort. Let's get to the next hand. Alright guys, in this next hand we have the $25 straddle on the button. There is one limper, and T Cruz decides to open it up to $60. T Cruz is a brand new player at the table. I've never played with him before, so I don't know how solid he is or how splashy he plays. Although we did hear right before he got to the table that he was action. So we are trying to get involved in as many paths as we can with him, and we are going to be able to do that because we picked up ace king on the button here. We decide to go ahead and 3-bet to $200, and the limper gets out of the way, and T Cruz makes the call. We head to a flop heads up, and it's king 5-4 rainbow. Now oddly enough, he goes ahead and leads into us for $240, and I think flatting here is probably the best play because of these reasons. I think we want to keep his bluffs in, want to keep his worst kings in, and if he somehow flopped middle set or bottom set, we're pot controlling a little bit. The turn is a queen of spades, and this is, I think, one of the only cards that we didn't want to see. We didn't want to see a 3, an 8, or a queen, because 6-7 is the most obvious straight draw, and I think that's one of the hands that he could just go ahead and lead into us on the flop with. But he checks it over to us on the turn now, and since there's only one combo of king queen suited, I think we have to bet here, and that's what we do. We go ahead and put in 350 bucks in the middle, and we went with this sizing because if he somehow decided to play set or king queen in a bit of a sneaky way and he goes ahead and check raises, I think sometimes we can get out of the way, and if that was our plan, there was no real reason to bet pretty big on this turn. So he doesn't do that. He just goes ahead and puts in the call, and we see a river, which is the 9 of spades. Now he decides to go ahead and lead into us for $825, and okay, we have some sort of suspicion that he could have maybe played some sets or king queen this way, but eventually I just don't think we can fold this hand. If he backdoor into the nut somehow, then more power to him. So we think for a little bit, but eventually decide to go ahead and flick in the call, and we were good. He had ace 10 off, so we picked up a good size pot here for a little over $3,200, and we're gonna get to the next hand. On our way to get unstuck, by the way. Hey guys, before we continue with more hands, I'm going to take a second to invite you guys to the DJ Friends meetup game at GPC from November 17th through the 20th. We're going to have a round live stream, a 25-50 no limit hold'em live stream as well, and a bracelet event on Saturday the 19th. So just come on down. Cal Fischl is going to be there, and we're going to feature him. He's from Florida, just like me, but he's going to be heading down there from the 17th to the 20th. So come on down and check it out at GPC. Also, before I forget, guys, I want to let you know that this Sunday, November 6th, we're going to have the first live stream here at the Badass Live channel. I qualified for day 2 of the 100K guaranteed double deuce in ACR. So we're going to be doing a live stream for that one. And I'm gonna be doing a few giveaways in here because we reached our goal, which was 1,000 subscribers in the first month of the channel. So come on down, say hi, say what's up, check out the giveaways, and maybe you can get your fair share of that. So I'll see you guys on Sunday. All right, guys. In this next hand, Jack opens up the action with 9-7 suited to $35. Austin calls in the middle with 10-8 offsuit, and we look down at ace-jack offsuit in the small blind. We decide to go ahead and bump it up to 125 bucks. If it was ace-jack suited, maybe we would have just flatted because it has a little more playability, and we wouldn't mind taking a flop 3 ways with that hand. But being the fact that ace offsuit, I think the best course of action is to go ahead and take the aggressive route and try to take control of the pot. So that's what we do. They both call, and we take a flop 3 ways, which is 7-5-3 rainbow. This flop is not necessarily the best for our range, but if we did have an overpair, we would continue c-betting on this flop. So we go ahead and do that and bet 150 bucks into 350-ish, somewhere around there. Jack decides to make the call, and Austin gets out of the way. So we take a turn, heads up, which is the 4 of diamonds. He puts a 4-liner and also puts a backdoor flush draw. And I thought about just giving up because after Jack calls the 3-bet pre-flop and then calls a bet on the flop, I think he could potentially have hands like 8s plus here or some sort of 7. If he has 7-6 suited, he turned the virtual nuts, he turns straight. But there's also some of the hands that he could have had, and if he did have 8s, 9s, 10s, those hands are probably not gonna be looking to calling off turns or river bets all that often. And since we have the heart to empty the clip here, we just go ahead and decided to put in max pressure and bet 400 bucks, and that gets the job done. Sometimes we're gonna run into him here, but as you can see, we're able to make him fold a better hand, and aggression pays off sometimes, and we're pretty good at that. So this time it worked for us, and we're gonna go ahead and move to the next hand. All right, guys, in this next hand, we get a little frisky and open up the action to $35 with 10-8 offsuit, and we get 4 callers. So we're gonna go to the flop 5 ways. The flop is 8-5-3 rainbow. We have outflapped everybody and have top pair here, so we c-bet for about half pot. We put in $85 into 175 bucks, and everybody folds except Austin, who flopped middle pair and some backdoor straight draws. The turn is an offsuit 7, and now it gives him open-ender. He checks it over to me again, and I decide to go ahead and size up in here because the board is getting straighty, and I get the feeling that we still have the best hand. However, we want to charge a good amount to all those pair plus draws type hands, and if he somehow turns to pairs or has a better hand now, we'll probably hear about it now. But he goes ahead and just makes the call, and the river is 4. So he gets there, he puts a 4-liner in there. Thankfully he doesn't bet, so we don't have a decision to make, and I think it's a pretty easy check back here and see if our 8's good, which is not. It was good up until the river, but he had 11 outs and he got there, so nothing we can do about that, and we're just gonna go ahead and move off to the next hand. All right, guys, in this next hand, we look down at 9-8 suited on the button. We have the $25 straddle on, so Troy goes ahead and calls with ace-5 of clubs. Johannes opens up the action to $100 with pocket 7s. Funboot Brad calls, and we were planning on 3-betting this hand because we wanted to play a bigger pot, and this is right up our alley. Suited connectors in position. Unfortunately, we decided against it because Johannes has been pretty tight. He hasn't been opening much. He was German and pretty solid, so he completely fit the profile of a Fischl, and we didn't want to get into weird spots with people that we perceived as being crushers. So we just go ahead and decide to complete, and we take a flop 4 ways. The flop is 9-8-5 to spades, so we drill this flop and have 2 pair, and the action goes as follows. Troy checks, Johanna checks, Funboot Brad checks to me, and we decide to put in a bet of $275 or $285 into 410 in the middle. Troy gets out of the way, Johannes gets out of the way with pocket 7s, and Funboot Brad decides to make the call with his 6s in the gutter. The turn is King of Hearts, so he checks it over to me, and it puts a double flush draw in the board. It's a pretty wet board, and there's a lot of hands that we can charge. He could have Jack 10, he could have 10-7, he could have 5-6, he could have hard draws, spade draws. There's so many draws. So we decided to size up to almost full pot and put in a bet of $800, and unfortunately he lets his pocket 6s go, and we're gonna take this one down, but we didn't make as much as we thought we could have. Hindsight, I think we could have bet a little bit smaller, but like I said, it was a pretty draw heavy board and we wanted to charge the max, but it didn't work out this time. So let's get to the next hand. All right, guys, in this next hand we open up the action with an ace king offsuit to $35. Troy directly to our left bumps it up to $115 or $125, and it folds around back to me. Now with ace king off, out of position, I think we are going to go for the 4-bet, and we made it pretty large. Also, we decide to go ahead and put in the 4-bet to $560, and he seems like he's had it. He starts giving the speech like, I'm not folding this hand no matter what. He puts in the call, but then he says like, oh, I should have just put it all in because I'm not gonna fold no matter what, yada yada yada. and we're like, okay, well, we'll just get it all in on the flop. Unfortunately for us, he flops the boat. He has 8-6-6, and I check it over to him. He has about a pot-sized bet left and decides to down bet to about like 25% pot, somewhere around there. There is over $1,200 in the middle, and he bets for 300 bucks. So he has about $1,000 behind, and I mean, I just don't know how I'm supposed to play this here, to be quite honest. I think folding is just too weak. I think just flatting also, it's hoping that we can spike an ace or a king on the turn. It's not necessarily the best play. So I decided to just go ahead and put it in and see what happens. Unfortunately, we get snapped off and you get shown the bad news. We're virtually drawing dead unless we go run around the kings or run around the aces. And the turn is an offsuit 3, so we're officially drawing dead, and we're going to lose a $3,500 pot in here. But it happens sometimes. There's nothing we can do. SPR was less than 1, so I don't know. Let me know how you would have played this hand, if you would have done anything differently. I think the outcome was probably the same. I think I could have just flatted flop 2 and just check fold turn, but I don't know if that's the best line. Just go ahead and let me know what you think in the comment section below, and let's go to the next hand. Alright guys, this next hand starts with Don opening up the action to $35 with 10-7 of diamonds. Folds around to Brad on the button with King Jack of clubs, and he makes the call. I make the call with Queen Jack of diamonds, and Troy makes the call with King Deuce of hearts. We take a flop 4 ways, and it's Queen 9-6, 2 hearts, 1 club. I check, and the action checks through on the flop. The turn is the 3 of clubs, so puts a double flush draw on the board, and now I decide to go ahead and lead for $100 with my top pair. Troy calls with his king high flush draw. Don gets out of the way with 10 high, and Brad calls with his king high club draw and his gutter. The river is the ace of spades, so they both brick their flush draws, and now I think with my queen I'm gonna play it as a bluff catcher. If either one of them had the nut flush draw, now they got there with the ace. However, I think I would expect them to play nut flush draws a little bit more aggressively, and I decided to go ahead and check, like I said, to bluff catch. Troy gives it up, and Brad decides to go for it and bets $300. I pretty much snap it off, and he tells me I'm good. So we're gonna scoop another decent sized pot, and it's about $1,000. So let's get to the next hand. Alright guys, in this next hand we have the mystery hand, which we didn't know at the time. We forgot to scan our cards, so nobody knows what we have, and now I wish I would have shown it after I made the hero call, because the only reason why I didn't, because I thought you guys would be able to see it on the stream. So if you want to participate in the vlog a little bit and maybe guess what I had or what I made the call with, just go ahead and put your guess in the comment section below, and let's see if you can get it right. Anyway, let's get back to the hand. The hand starts with me in the button, put in the $25 straddle. Troy makes the call, and then it folds to T Cruz, who opens it up for $80 with the good old 7 deuce offsuit. I go ahead and put in the call on the button, and so does Troy. So we take a flop 3 ways, and it's Queen 9-6, 2 diamonds. Troy checks it over to T Cruz, and he puts it the C bet for $110. I make the call, and Troy gets out of the way. So we're taking a turn heads up, which is the 4 of hearts. He doesn't slow down, and now puts in $320 in the middle, and I decide to make the call. The river is a king of clubs. So now Jack 10 gets there, all the flush draws brick, and he starts putting chips together and bets $560. I don't believe him. We've played a few pots with him and cut him in a couple of bluffs. We actually paid him off a couple times too, for the same reason. But we don't believe him this time, and we go ahead and decide to make the call with, we had 9-7 off. So we called him off with third pair. I think the flop bet standard here to continue with middle pair. The turn is also pretty standard if I don't think he has a queen or an overpair, and he could have you know, flush draw or jack 10 or king jack or any sort of flush draw combination, or any combo draw. But I think the river completes a lot of those combinations that he could have had. If he had any sort of flush draw that contains a king, he's not ahead. If he had jack 10, now he's ahead. If he had king queen, he's probably playing it the same way. So I think calling off here with 9-7, which is third paired basically, it's a pretty big hero call. But it gets the job done. He had the good old 7 deuce, and we scoop a pretty decent sized pot. I think it's a little bit over a 2K pot. So we're on our way to getting stuck. We're making good calls. We're playing good. I think a little bit splashy here and there, but we can't help ourselves. And let's just get to the next hand. Alright guys, in this next hand, Don opens on the gun to $40 with ace deuce suited. T Cruz makes the call with pocket 7s, and we look down at ace 10 offsuit in the small blind. Now I think a 3-bet is in place here. Ace 10 off is not the strongest hand to just see a flop 3 ways out of position, so we go ahead and bump it up to $135, and they both call. We take a flop 3 ways, and it is king 10 3 2 spades, and I go ahead and c-bet for $150, and Don gets out of the way, and T Cruz makes the call. The turn is a king of hearts, which I think is a pretty good card for me, because now it's a lot less likely that T Cruz has a king. I also don't think that he has queens or jacks, hands that are like beating us, because he probably would have 3-bet himself pre-flop. And I decide to just go ahead and give him some rope and check, because I feel like if he has some flush draws, he's probably gonna semi-bluff at it. And if he has a king, we pot control a little bit, but like I said, I think it's a lot less likely. And to our surprise, he just goes ahead and checks back. The river is an inconsequential 7 of clubs, and now I think we're just gonna give him some rope again, pretty much use our middle pair here to bluff catch, and we check it over to him again, and he goes ahead and makes a big bet, almost a full-size pot bet of just a little over $600, to which we pretty much just a snap call. And we're showing the bad news. He had pocket 7s and rivers a boat. So we get 2 outer for just a little under a 2K pot here, which is a little bit annoying because it's almost towards like the end of the session. And you know, people are starting to pick up, and the game is getting shorter, but not much we could have done here. I think he would have done the same thing even if he didn't spike the 7, so I don't necessarily dislike my play here. I think it was probably the best play. I don't think he would have folded the turn if I bet anyway, so I think we lost the minimum. But yeah, it was just unfortunate. But let's get to the next hand. Alright guys, this is one of the last hands we played on the stream. There was a few other hands we played for about another 30 minutes after this hand, but there was nothing really all that interesting to report. Even this hand is not all that interesting, but we ended up making a call with king high, and we're right. So I wanted to include this hand just because of that fact. But let's get into the action. The action starts with T Cruz opening up king 10 suited. Rory calls with king 10 suited as well, and we look down at king jack off in the cutoff and decide to go for the 3-bet. We put $135, and they both called. The flop comes 9 deuce deuce 2 diamonds. So Rory has a king high flush draw, but they both check it over to me, and I decide to go ahead and check back The turn is a deuce of spades, and they both check it over to me again, and at this point I don't really see any real reason to bet other than like maybe try to get some ace highs to fold, but I don't think T Cruz is gonna fold ace high type hand. So I decided to just go ahead and check back again. The river is the 5 of hearts, so it doesn't complete the front door flush draw, and T Cruz goes ahead and bets $110. Rory folds, and I decide to go ahead and make the call because I don't believe him, and we were right. Our king jack is best, and we end up scooping a $700 pot with king high here at the end of the stream. So it was fun. We got to meet a few new cool people, and we had a good time playing. I think we ended up being down a little bit, but we played another session at the very beginning, right before the stream. We played 2-5 for like 30-40 minutes, and we actually won like 1,500. So all in all, I think we ended up winning a few $100 after everything was said and done. And like I said, we had a good time. That's what matters. So thank you guys for watching.
I was like, I don't know how to do this.
Alright guys, that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below. It does really help out the channel a ton, and I really appreciate it. Once again, thank you so much if you're following the channel, if you're following my journey. I've been really busy lately, so I wasn't able to put out much content, but I'm gonna try to get back on track and start pumping out more videos. So stay tuned. We're also gonna do a live stream pretty soon. Maybe it's gonna be this Sunday, or maybe this following week right after this video comes out. I'm gonna be doing some giveaways during that live stream because we did reach our goal of getting 1,000+ subscribers in the first month of the channel. So I really appreciate that, guys. I appreciate all of you guys spreading the word and maybe sharing my videos and telling your friends, telling your family, telling your poker friends. I'm gonna be putting out a lot more content related to business and entrepreneurship, and some other videos of just lifestyle and travel and the cool destinations that I've been to in the past year or so, and our future trips as well. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright guys, so if you enjoy following the Badass Life channel, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below, as well as hit the link below if you want to continue watching some more of my videos. YouTube's algorithm is going to show you one of the best videos they think that you'll be interested in, and you can go ahead and keep watching. I really appreciate you following my journey, and I'll see you next time.